I believe you guys, we met on Saturday when we did our first lesson for business finance, and then on Sunday when we did our first lesson for microeconomics. I believe you guys have met Susan and have met Jabu, but I understand that there were some technical challenges with the lesson that Jabu was doing. So I believe that he's going to have to repeat that specific lesson, right? So what we want to do today is we started last week with learning how to prepare an income statement. So you guys, I'm sure you have had a look at your homework. Sorry, at your, what is it called? The assignment, formative assessment number 2 for business finance. So formative assessment number 2 for business finance asks you guys to prepare a statement of comprehensive income and ask you guys to prepare a statement of financial position, i.e. financial statements. That's what your lecturer wants you guys to prepare, right? So in order for you to know how to do that, that is what we are teaching you at the moment. So like I said, I have some free classes. We did a free class on Saturday, and we are doing another free class today, right? So this class that we are doing is for income statement, how to prepare an income statement. This is not the assignment question, but this is just an example, which might be similar to the assignment question, just to help you out. But for those of you that are willing to pay the fees that I highlighted last week, which is $750 per module, when we meet again next week on Thursday, I'll only be meeting the students that have paid for the lessons next week on Thursday, right? So we'll actually be going through the actual, assignment question, where I'll go through the assignment question with the class, showing you what you're supposed to do, etc., etc., etc. Then you can then go on your own side and then prepare your own final answer. But at least we would have worked it out together within the within the class setup. But what we are simply doing right now is showing you how the classes will be like, so that you can also see, oh, so I will be doing this, we'll be doing this, and also you actually be learning, because by the time we get to the end of the lecture today, you now know how to prepare an income statement by yourself. So that even if you don't join my classes, you can still go and try to do it yourself. I'm sure you will be successful, specifically for the income statement, because we have done it together as a team. So if you did not attend last week's lecture, please make sure you have a watch at that video, plus all the other videos that I sent to, because they give you a general understanding of how to prepare an income statement and all of the different aspects that are incorporated within an income statement. But like I said, this is just an example. This is not your assignment. This is just an example. If you want help with this specific assignment, join through next week. We'll be doing that. But like I said, there's a fee. It's 750 Rand per semester for one module. You are allowed to pay in installments. If you don't have the full amount, you can say, James, can I pay you 250 this month, another 250 next month, and whatnot? That will be fine with me. So I'll go ahead. So I sent you guys this in the group. It was a picture of the question or the example that I want us to do together, right? So these are question number 3. It says here, using the information below, prepare the statement of comprehensive income for the year ended 31 December 2022. So if you guys remember last week, I showed you a couple of steps in terms of what is important when you are preparing a comprehensive income statement. And one of the things that I highlighted is understand the debts, right? That is very, very important. Understand the debts. It says here the income statement is for 31 December 2022. Right. So if it is for 31 December 2022, right, you will notice that it means it's supposed to be for 12 months, because we said according to the what? To the accounting period concept that is in unit number 1, right? That a financial year is 12 months. So which means this financial year started 1 January 2022 up to 31 December 2022. So that's something that is very, very important that you need to understand before you start, because you're going to see certain things that are going to make it difficult if you did not understand that, right? Then the second thing, okay, just give me a second here. Let me look for my calculator. Okay, there we go. So the second thing that I told you is understand the format of what you are trying to prepare. right? And I told you that in the format for the income statement, you are going to say the sales of the organization, subtract the cost of sales, and then you get a gross profit. And then the gross profit, you add an operating income, and then you get gross operating income. Then gross operating income, you subtract your total expenses and you get an operating profit. And then operating profit, you add your interest income, you subtract your interest expense, and then you get your profit before tax. Then if the company has got taxation, you pay the tax, and then you get your profit after tax. That's the format of an income statement. The nitty-gritties will depend on the question that you're doing, but that's how the standard format usually looks like, right? So let's start. So according to our format, the first thing that we need is the sales figure. And I highlighted to you guys last week that when you are doing sales, you need to look at the sales returns, right? You need to look at the sales returns. So if we go into our trial balance, remember what we said, you go into your trial balance. That's the first thing that you go, your trial balance. And then after your trial balance, you go to your additional information. So what we are going to do right now is we are going to go through all of the information that is in the trial balance. Once we are done with all of the information in the trial balance, then we are going to adjust that information using the additional information provided here. Right? So let me go ahead. Right. So the first thing we said is the sales. So the sales here, according to our trial balance, nominal account section, just like we discussed last week, I'm going to the nominal account section. And I'm going to look on my what? On my credit side of the trial balance nominal account section. And then I have 2.8 in terms of sales. So 2,880,123. And then we said we subtract our cost of sales. So what is our cost of sales? Sorry, we subtract our sales returns. What is our sales returns? It's 90,000. So we subtract 90,000 and we leave it like that. We are going to fill in the final details once we are done with everything. For now, we just want to go through what are the important workings. And then once we are done, we can put in the final answers where it says ARA here. I'm going to say amounts. So the final amounts, I'll put them once we are done, right? For now, I just want to go through the workings, right? So that's what? That's the sales figure, right? And then we go to the next one, the cost of sales. And if you check my notes last week, I told you guys that there are two issues. Either the lecturer will give you the cost of sales within your trial balance. If he does not give you the cost of sales, instead he gives you purchases, then you use the formula that I sent through in the what? In the notes, right? You use the formula that I sent through in the what? In the notes. So either he will give you the cost of sales, or if he does not give you the cost of sales, use the formula that I sent you in the notes to calculate. So what does that formula say? The formula says for you to get cost of sales, you are going to say opening inventory. You're going to say, or I'm going to come back to the questions that you have in the chat box. But let me just cover a little bit, and then I'll come back to your questions. Right? We are going to say opening inventory. Opening inventory is the stock at the beginning of the year. Right? Now I want you to notice something. I remember there was a lady that was asking a question last week. Now this will actually answer a question. Do you see that it says that this is the pre-adjusted trial balance as at 31 December 2022, which means that all the balances in here are supposed to be as at 31 December 2022. But if we go and check the balance for the inventories, we see that the lecturer specifically highlighted that no, as a student, take note that the balance for this specific inventory is not as at 31 December 2022, but is as at 31 December 2021. In some question papers, you won't have a date there. If you do not have a date, then this is the correct date, the one for the trial balance. But if you are given a date, then you are given a date. You can make use of it. So this is our opening inventory. So under opening inventory, I'm going to indicate here we've got 300,000, right? And then my formula says we are going to add purchases, right? So let's add purchases. So we go here. We have got purchases 1.2. So we're going to say 1,230,000. That's what? That's purchases, right? And then my formula also says add carriage on purchases. So we're going to say add carriage on purchases. Right? And we've got carriage and purchases here of 54,000. Right? My formula then says subtract our closing stock. Right? So what is our closing stock? We go here under additional information. We are told that 31 December 2022, there was 210,000. So we use 210 here, 210,000, right? And then my formula also says subtract purchases returns. Purchases returns. And that gives us where is purchases returns? 90,000. Interesting. Okay. 90,000, right? So these ones which we are subtracting, let's put them in brackets because we are subtracting them. Okay, so in total, then what is our cost of sales? So if I say 300,000 plus 1,230,000 plus 54,000 minus 210,000 minus 90,000, it gives me 1,284,000 is my final cost of sales. And then my final sales figure there, 2,880,123 minus 90,000. I have here 2,790,123. That's my final sales figure there. Therefore, my gross profit is going to be what? Is going to be my sales minus my cost of sales, right? 2,790,123 minus 1,284,123. And that is going to give me 1,506,123, right? So that's my gross profit figure, right? So these are the calculations that I've done here. Just for presentation, let's make it this way so that it just looks more nicer in terms of our presentation here. Okay. So that's my gross profit figure. Now, there are a couple of things here that you have to understand, right? So when we are talking about cost of sales, right, we are asking ourselves, what is the cost for us to be able to sell these particular items, right? For us to be able to sell these particular items, right? This is, we are looking at basically like the manufacturing cost, the cost attributed to the manufacturing process or to the production process of the company. So this includes the purchases of the items that we had to sell. That should be included, right? If there was a carriage or if there was a transport cost for us to purchase these items, then we should include the transport cost, right? If there was stock that we purchased last year, but we did not sell it, and then we are selling it this year, then it should be included, right? Then if there is stock that we produced this year, and we are not going to sell it this year, we should subtract it. If there was stock that we purchased, but did not use, but rather we returned it to the supplier because it was defective, we should remove it. That's what essentially we are doing here, right? For another example is if the lecturer maybe he says there was a duty, maybe it's a customs duty on the purchases, You should what? You should add customs duty on the purchases if there was customs duty on the purchases, right? But the mistake that students sometimes make comes to what is called carriage on sales, not carriage on purchases, carriage on sales. Carriage on sales should not be included under the sales figure, should not be included under the cost of sales figure. Rather, it is just an expense of the organization that should be included under operating expenses. So this is why you see I have not included carriage on sales on any of the stuff that I have done so far. All right, so let me see if there are any questions here that I need to attend to before we move on to the next part. Let's see. Someone says here, please share the first video of this class. Okay, I will resend it in the group. Then someone says here, good evening. Are you able to get the recording and the notes? Yes, we will send the recording and the notes after the lecture. Someone says here, James, what about carriage on sale? I've attended to this one. So I think all of these questions have been attended to. All right. Is there any question here on this part before I move on to other operating income? Any other question?
James, yes, thank you.
Yes.
Please just go through that carriage of sales again. When should we add it?
It goes under this section. I'm going to highlight it in red so that you can quickly see it. This one, operating expenses. That's where carriage on sales goes. It goes under operating expenses, not under sales, not under cost of sales, but under operating expenses. It's an operating expense. Delivery expenses are operating expenses. All right. Any other question before I move on to the next?
Yes. Mr. James, somewhere you mentioned that the sales you even make it red. That is for 2021. Then what happened with that?
Look again, it's not sales, it's inventory.
Oh, inventory.
Yes.
Okay, inventory.
That's what we came here and said opening inventory. Opening inventory means inventory at the beginning of the year. That's what it means, opening inventory. That's why we put it.
Okay, then what was going to happen if it was in 2021 and it was for 2022, the year that we're working on?
Okay.
If it was not highlighted,
if it was like that,
inventory.
if it was like that, then normally the lecturer would then give you the cost of sales figure. If it does not give you opening inventory and closing stock, he usually gives you the cost of sales figure already calculated for you, which means you just take it and you plug it in. So it's either two cases. Either it gives you the cost of sales figure, or he will give you all of the information, the purchases, the carriage on purchases, the opening inventory, the closing stock, and whatnot.
So the minute I see the inventory with alarming date, so I must just know that I don't have the cost of sales. I must work it out.
Most likely, yes. But you can double check. Cost of sales is usually under nominal account section. If you search for it and you can't find it, it means that he should give you the inventories, both the two inventories.
But there's no way that I can have the inventory for 2020 like this and still have still have to calculate the thing. You still not have to calculate the cost of sales. Is that what I'm telling you?
It's very rare. I do not want to say your lecturer will never do
it
that.
Won't make sense. It actually won't make sense.
Yeah, because it will confuse you quite a lot. He will give you one of two things. It's either he gives
I hear you. No, I hear you. In a simple terms, how do I say, you see where you're adding under the opening inventory? Okay, without cramming the add purchase, add carrier, how do I know these things? The adding and the subtracting.
You have to read. You have to read. It's not something that you can miraculously know. You have to read it through. You have to read it through. Just think of it like, if you are a business person, think of it like a business. If you want to know what is the cost of something, you have to look at the items that attribute to that cost. How much did you purchase? How much did you spend on transport? How much did you not sell? And whatnot.
Okay, so it might be a different name.
Yes. Remember this thing. I want you guys to remember this. Your exams are online exams, which means that they are open book exams. There are certain things that you might not need to really crave. There are certain things that you just have to what? To make use. This is why you see I do this the way that I teach. It means that even in the exam, you can come back to, oh, we did this with James in the lecture on 22 whatever August. And you can go back to that video for 22 August and you can revise it within the exam, and then you can do it correctly. You can do it correctly. That's why I usually provide, after my lectures, I provide notes, I provide past answers for the question papers and whatnot, so that even if you see it in an exam situation, you can come back to it. That's one of the benefits why I encourage those that are interested to join the classes, but I make sure that these things are available to you so that you can even use them in the exam, so that you don't have to actually claim some of the stuff. All right, for the sake of progress, we'll take questions maybe after another 10 minutes. Let's move forward, right? So next item we said is now calculating the what? The gross operating income. And we said for you to calculate the gross operating income, you take the gross profit that we now have and we say add other operating income. So what are the different types of operating income? So if you go back to my notes, I've shown you guys what are the different types of what? Of operating income. I have an example there that I showed you the different types of operating income, right? But in this example, again, from my notes, you look in your credit side, right? Credit side, and you check under your credit side, under the nominal account section. Is there anything that is an operating income there, right? So there is sales. We've already dealt with sales. There is a purchase returns. We've already dealt with that one. And there is nothing else. So for now, we are going to assume that this company does not have other operating income. However, when we go through the additional information later, we might find that there might be something that wants to fall under other operating income. So we'll come back to it. But for now, just from the trial balance, we can see that there's no what? There's no other operating income. So we are going to assume that it's zero, right? But remember, we are not done, right? But we're going to assume that it's what? It's zero, right? So we have our gross operating income there. It doesn't change, right? We are going to assume that there is no operating income. But when we go through additional information, we might find something there. So let's leave it like that for now. Let's go to operating expenses, right? Operating expenses, again, we start with the nominal account section. Then after the nominal account section, we go to our additional information. So your operating expenses are on your debit side of the nominal account section. But however, the things that you need to be worried about is interest expense. Because interest expense is not an operating expense, it is recorded separately. Please take note of that. Interest expense is not an operating expense, it is recorded separately. So let's go through this, right? So on our debit side, purchases, we've done with that. Sales returns, we've done that. Carriage on purchases, we have done that. Municipal rates, that's the starting one, 45,000. So we've 45,000 here for municipal rates. Carriage on sales, we've got 30,000. Wages and salaries, we've 240,000. Stationery, we've got 33,000. If I write a figure wrong there, you can correct me so that we don't make funny mistakes. Bed debts, 36,000. Insurance, 39,000. Directors' fees, 144,000. Other operating expenses, 285,000. And then we've got ordinary dividends. Ordinary dividends also is just like interest income. You are not supposed to record ordinary dividends under operating expenses. It's not an operating expense. Ordinary dividends and interest income, these are not operating expenses. These are what we call finance expenses. They are not supposed to be under operating expenses. So we've recorded all of them. So now that we have all of the operating expenses, right, you can see that we've covered almost everything there. We only have items that we've not dealt with under nominal account section. I think it's only the ordinary share dividends. We'll talk about them at the end. Right. So now we can go to additional information and see which adjustments might we need to make for this for this organization, right? So additional information number one. Physical stock taking for 31 December revealed the following inventories. We've already dealt with this one when we did our cost of sales, right? So we are no longer worried about this one. Adjustment number two, right? Stationery, there is 3,000 in stock, right? According to our matching principle. Remember the matching principle that you did with your lecturer last week, right? According to if you did not understand the principles, I've sent a video that explains all of these principles, right? According to the matching principle, we cannot include expenses for another year into this particular year, right? So this 3,000 of stationery, this is stationery that we bought this year, but we did not use it this year. Therefore, it should not be included in the financial statement for 31 December 2022. So we go to our stationery account, right? This is our stationery account there, which has got an expense of 33,000. And we say 33,000 minus 3,000, right? That's what we say, 33,000 minus 3,000. We go to our next one, right? I'm going to write the balances after we are done, right, with additional information, right? Because there might be things that we change, right? We go to the next one. The next one says here, the municipal rates increased by 20% each year on 1 July. Okay, this is going to be something else, all right? The municipal rates increased by 20% each year on 1 July. The rate expense for December 2022 was due to be paid, right? If I say was due to be paid, it means it has not yet been paid, but it was rate expense for what? For December 2022. According to the accruals principle, if we incurred an expense such as municipal rates, but we did not pay for it, we should include it in our calculations for the profit and loss for that particular year, which means we need to calculate the municipal rates for December 2022 and add it to the 45,000 municipal rates already paid, right? We need to calculate it for December 2022 and add it to the municipal rates already paid. This means that this 45,000 that we have here is municipal rates from January up to November. May I ask you guys, how many months is January to November?
11 months.
11 months. All right. So I need you guys to follow me here. Please pay attention because this is where some of you will lose it, right? Municipal rates, right? So we're saying we paid, right? 45,000. For how many months? My friend said 11 months, right? 11 months, right? But December, we have not paid. So we want to calculate for December. That's our question. What is the municipal rate for December? That's what we want to that's what we want to calculate. So we have paid here for 45,000, right? So the first thing that can happen, this is where most students will make a mistake, right? If I was to say, okay, so should we divide 45,000 by 11 months? Should we do that? Should we divide 45,000 by 11 months? And then I'll tell you, no, we cannot do that. We cannot divide 45,000 by 11 months. Does anyone know why we cannot do that? Does anyone see why we cannot divide 45,000 by 11 months? For us to get the monthly rental. Because we want to know what is the monthly rental.
That's an increase in July of 20%.
Yes, yes. Thank you for raising that up. So we are saying that there was an increase in July, right, for 20%, which means that the rent that was paid in June and the rent that was paid in July, it is different. Are we in agreement there? Did I lose anyone there? Silence means we are all happy, right? So the rent paid from 1 January up to 30 June, right? And the rent paid from July up to November are different amounts. Why? Because from July up to November, they paid an extra. They paid an extra what? They paid an extra 20%, right? So I want you to think, now I'm going to go into what we call algebra. Right, I'm going to go into algebra. For those of you that have done a bit of mathematics and whatnot, this is straightforward. For those of you that did not like maths, unfortunately, this is going to be hard, right? So we're going to go into algebra. So I'm going to say, let R represent the rental paid in January 2022. Like red R represents the rental paid in January 22. So if I say R represents the rent paid in January 2022, let me just create some space to work here, right? So I'm saying, follow me through here. I'm trying to help. I know that there are some people that didn't do maths very well. So I'm saying in January, they paid R rent, plus in February, they paid R rent, plus in March, they paid R rent, etc. That's what I'm saying, right? So from January to 30 June, these are 6 months. So they paid 6 months multiplied by R. That's what they paid. In mathematics, we can call this 6R. In mathematics, we can just call this 6R, right? And then we have got these other months, right? We have got from July. We've got July, August, September, October, November, 5 months, right? So that's R in whatnot. But remember, it's 20% extra that they were paying. So we are saying that for 5 months, they paid R rentals, right? But they also paid plus an extra 20% increase. That they what? That they paid. They also paid plus an extra 20% increase, right? So this means that 20% gives you here just give me a second. Was 20% of 5 gives you what? 20% of 5 gives you 1, right? So you're going to end up here with 6R again. You're going to end up with 6R again because it's 5R plus an extra 20%, right? They're paying an extra 20% each and every month, right? So if you want to calculate the extra 20%, if you say 5 multiplied by 0.2, you're going to get 1. So it means it's 5R plus 1, which gives you what? Which gives you 6R, right? So it means you end up with 6R. So now this is what I'm now going to write. The 6R for the first 6 months, right? Plus the 6R for the second part, which is the 5 months, this is equals to 45,000, right? And then if you add that together, you get 12R is equals to 45,000. And then R is equals to 45,000 divided by 12. I get 3750. So R, remember, R represents the rental paid, right? R represents the rental paid in January. So we're saying in January, they paid 3750. So how much are they going to pay in December, right? So in December, they're going to pay 3750 plus 20%, right? So 3750 multiplied by 0.2, that's 750. So December is equals to 3750 plus 750, and that gives you 4.5. So that's the rental, that's the municipal rates that they were supposed to pay in December, 45,000. So we come back to our schedule here, and under municipal rates, we can say here plus 45,000 for December.
James, is it not 4,500?
Yeah, sorry, 4,500. Thank you.
For the month.
Yes, 4,500 for December, right? So that's municipal rates. We go to the next adjustment, adjustment number 3, right? Depreciation must be provided as follows, right? Depreciation is the wear and tear. Right? If you use your car, it gets old, wear and tear. That's what depreciation is, right? So depreciation must be provided as follows. There are 2 ways of calculating depreciation: straight line method and reducing balance method. If it's the straight line method, you just take the percentage and you multiply. That's it. Take the percentage and multiply it by the cost, right? So on equipment, it's 15% per annum on cost. So we're going to say here depreciation, right? Equipment, is it correct? Equipment. So it's going to be 15%, right? Multiplied by the cost of equipment. So we go and look for the cost of equipment, and we can tell you equipment at cost 258,000. So 258,000. That's how we get our depreciation there. So that's going to be equals to 15% multiplied by 258. 38,700. 38,700. Okay, just give me a second, guys. My apologies. Just give me 1 second here.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, go ahead.
Where did you get that depreciation figure?
Which one exactly?
The 258,000.
If you check in the trial balance under the balance sheet account section, it says here equipment cost 258,000. Do you see it?
Okay. All right.
That's when. Okay, just give me a second, guys.
Progress.
Just give me a second here. I've got another class that I just want to make sure that everything is okay before we proceed. All right, I think we can proceed. All right, so where was I? Depreciation on equipment, right? And if you calculate that, that gives me, you can always verify my figures, guys. I'm a human, I'm a person, I make mistakes, right? So always verify the figures that I type there. All right, so that's depreciation on equipment, right? In our additional information, we also have depreciation for motor vehicles. Okay, so this one can be very confusing. So pay attention, vehicles, right? So diminishing balance, right? It says here 20% per annum on the diminishing balance, right? So what is a diminishing balance? A diminishing balance is what we call the net book value, right? The diminishing balance is what we call the net book value. That's a diminishing balance. So let's do some calculations separately here, just to help you. So if I say calculate depreciation 20% on diminishing balance, I mean on the net book value. So the question is, how do I calculate the diminishing balance? So the diminishing balance or the net book value, NBV, is going to be equals to the cost of the item minus the accumulated depreciation. That's the formula there for diminishing balance. So what is the cost of the item? And then you subtract the accumulated depreciation, right? So I'm going to confuse you a little here. I'm just going to highlight something here that I want you to take note of. We are told here by the lecturer that please take note. The moment he says take note, it means it's confusion that is bringing in. There was a vehicle that costed the company 300,000 that was purchased in 1 October 2022, right? So this means that, right, this vehicle that the company purchased that is costing this much, right, did not spend the whole year at the company. So we cannot calculate depreciation for the whole year for that particular vehicle because it's still new, right? We cannot calculate depreciation for the whole year. So what you are going to do is you are going to go to your cost, right? You're going to go to your cost there. Okay. Sorry, just trying to mute someone here. All right. So you're going to go to your cost, right? And you're going to see the cost is equals to 690, 690, 690, 123. So this new vehicle, this 300,000 vehicle, it does not have any accumulated depreciation because it is new. So it cannot have accumulated depreciation over the previous years because it is what? It is new. So you're going to subtract this 300,000 from the 690. So 690, 123 minus the 300,000 of the new vehicle, and then we get here 390, right? So we're going to stay left with 390. So the 390 are the old vehicles. So these old vehicles, we are going to say 390, which is the old vehicles, right? Minus the accumulated depreciation on vehicles. This one over here, which is 150. 150 is equals to minus 150. We get 240. And then we take that 240, right? And we multiply it by what? By 20%, because we were told it's 20% per annum, right? So multiply by 20%, and then we get 48,000 in depreciation. But our answer is not yet complete. Our answer is not yet what? Is not yet complete. Why is our answer not yet complete? Because although the new vehicle does not have accumulated depreciation, but we did use the vehicle for at least a couple of months, right? If I buy a Toyota right now and start using it, if I go back to the sales dealer next month, they are going to reduce the value of that Toyota, right? So if they are going to reduce the value of that Toyota, I also need to reduce the value. It might not have accumulated depreciation, but I still have to reduce the value. So how do I do that? So I do the same thing. I take the value of the vehicles, which is 300,000, right? And I multiply that 300,000 by 20%. And then I multiply that 20% by the period in which the vehicle has actually worked at the company, which according to here is from October, if I'm not mistaken, is from October, right? So it's October, November, December, which is 3 months. October, November, December, which is 3 months. So it's 3 over 12. So we are calculating a proportion of the depreciation, right? So 300,000 multiplied by 20% multiplied by the proportion 3 over 12, and then we get here 15,000. Right? And then we take that 48,000. I'm going to come to you. I can see your hand is raised. I'm going to come to you. I just want to finish my thought. 48,000 plus 15,000. Now we've got our total depreciation for vehicles. 15,000 plus 48,000, and then we get 63,000. So that's depreciation on vehicles. So we go back here, depreciation on vehicles is going to be 63,000, right? Which is 15,000 plus 48,000 that we calculated there. All right. Salom, go ahead with your question.
Can we go back to our calculation slide?
Okay.
Our notes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
When you were busy working out the diminishing balance
Mm-hmm.
minus the cost,
Mm-hmm.
okay, is equal to cost minus accumulated depreciation.
Mm-hmm.
Again, the 150,000 you got it from the trial
Mm-hmm.
balance. The 300,000, 690,000 minus 300,000. Where did you get the 300,000 from?
Do you see on the other side in red, a vehicle that cost 300,000 was purchased on 1 October? Do you see that?
Right. Oh, because it's red. I can't even see it. Okay.
Oh, okay. All right. Let me
Thank
check.
you.
Okay. Sharply. I see there's someone else who's got a hand raised. Go ahead.
Let me put it on mine.
Who's this one? Mto Motusi. Go ahead.
Yes. Oh, thank you, James.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask James now on the actual answer. Let's say you're answering an assignment.
Mm-hmm.
These calculations, would we have to put it somewhere on a page, or just those ones on top is enough? You won't get penalized for not putting the ones at the bottom, the workings.
Okay. So for workings, remember, well, I'm going to emphasize something here. Guys, when we assist you, like we are assisting you in class, specifically for the ones that are going to join for the assignment class, you cannot just copy the way that we do everything and put it in your answer. That's plagiarism, right? So you have to put it in your own way, the own way that you worked out your stuff, right? So in terms of the way you present your answer, you see what I've done here, 15,000 plus 48,000 is equals to 63, and I present my answer as 63. That's fine, that's correct. You can also take the same workings that I was doing, you can put them there. That's still correct. There is no incorrect way of putting your workings. You can even exclude all of the workings and just put the answer. That's still fine. That's why it says workings if any. So it's up to you as the student how you did your workings. If you want to do like I'm doing right now, where you say after your thing, you put another thing and you say workings, and you say working number 1, and then you come over here, for example, and you say this, you say W1 to represent working number 1, so that the lecturer can know that this is from working number 1. That's still up to you as the student. There is no wrong way of presenting workings. The answer itself should be presented correctly, but in terms of the workings, present the workings the way that you are comfortable presenting the workings. Don't necessarily follow what I am doing exactly, because that might be considered as plagiarism. Because just think of it, if the lecturer sees all of you doing the same thing, exactly the same thing, that's plagiarism. So you have to present in your own unique way all of the workings that you are doing. But the final answer, it can be the same, but the working cannot be the same. You have to find ways of presenting your workings differently here and there, here and there. I hope that answers you.
Answered. Thank you.
All right. Another question on this part that we've covered before I proceed?
Hi.
Yes.
Hi, can I answer a question as well?
Mm-hmm.
On the workings, I don't know if you're not getting a mark for your workings, or you can just put an answer without showing your workings.
You can put an answer without showing your workings, but it's what do you call it? It's bad sportsmanship. Number 1, if then the lecturer comes back and says that you guys copied each other, how do you prove that you do not copy another student if you don't have even a working to show that you worked it out yourself, right? So I encourage you guys to show your workings, show how you work. Okay. You might not show all of your workings. There are certain things that do not need workings. They are very straightforward. Okay. For example, stationery, right? It's straightforward. It was just 33,000 minus 30,000. You don't need to show workings for that. You can just write 30,000 is the final solution there. But things such as depreciation on equipment, things such as issues of municipal rates and whatnot, where you did quite a different number of workings, you can show your workings to show that you are getting your information from somewhere, right? But other things, you might not even show any workings because it's straightforward. No one can doubt how you arrived at it. But if it is a little bit complicated, show the workings of how you arrived at your final figure. The benefit of showing workings is if you get the answer incorrect, the lecturer might go back to your workings and award you your marks based on your workings. If the workings were correct, maybe you made an error in terms of the final figure, in terms of just punching in a calculator, but your workings were correct. That's the benefit of showing your workings. Another question? Okay, I believe you're happy. Let's proceed. Adjustment number 4, right? Is it number 4? Yes, number 4. No entry was made for a debtor who was declared insolvent. Insolvent means someone who owed money but can no longer pay the money. Let's say you lost your job and you had a loan. You can no longer pay the loan. So that's what we're saying when we're saying insolvent. So a debtor who was declared insolvent, it means someone who owed us money who then lost their job, right? So they can no longer be able to pay us, right? So no entry was made for a debtor who was declared insolvent and was only able to pay 1,800 rand. Right? It means they owed us more money, but they were only able to pay 1,800, which represents 60% of what was owed. So this 1.8 that they paid represents 60% of what was owed. The balance of the account must now be written off. So this is a bad debt. So this bad debts figure, we are saying it's wrong. We want to know what is the correct bad debts figure. So let's go to our workings. So this was municipal rates, municipal. Okay, municipal rates. Let me just do it this way. And then this was depreciation. Now we go to bad debts. Okay. So under our bad debts there, we are saying the person owed 1.8. I'm going to come to you, my friend. Let me just finish this out. So we have got 1.8 there. That was paid. So the first question that we ask ourselves is, how much did the person owe? How much did they owe initially before they paid? So for us to calculate that, we are saying 1.8 paid was 60%, right? So if we want to know the total value, we're going to say 1.8 divided by the 60% that was paid. It's just algebra. If you still remember these lessons, where we're saying more or less and whatnot, I'm not going to go deep into it, right? So 1.8 divided by 60%, 1,800 divided by 0.6, that's 3,000 rand. So it means that this person owed us 3,000 rand. That's what it means, that they owed us 3,000 rand. So if they owed us 3,000 rand and they have paid 1.8, how much is the balance? So the balance becomes 3,000 minus the 1.8 that was paid, and that gives us 1.2, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, what's happening here? Sorry, let me just connect my laptop, saying it's out of battery. That's okay. So 1.8.
Just before you continue.
Okay.
The here, the 1.8. It's the 60% of the money she owed. So I was thinking, maybe it's my thinking, I'm thinking wrong. So which means the 1.8 is the 60%. So we must get the 40%.
Yes, that's correct.
So we must get the 1.8 plus 40%, which will give us the total money she owed.
Yes. That's correct.
So it must be 1.8 plus 40%.
40% of what? That's the question now. Do you get it? 40% of what? 40% of the money that the person owed initially. Do you get it? So you still need to calculate how much did the person owe initially. If you know that they owed 3,000, you can say 3,000 multiplied by 40%. What do you get? You get 1,200. So you still need to calculate how much did they owe initially. That's the end goal. Get to know how much they owed, and then you can know what is the balance. You can either use 40% or you can just subtract.
Okay, understood.
All right. I see there's another hand that is raised. Please go ahead. I think it's Suleiman.
James, I'm just thinking about now these calculations and what you said. If we go according to, this workings, step by step, how you're showing us now, is there another option of workings as well that you can show us? Because like with depreciation, for example, or the municipal, because I'm now just afraid because we're making notes and you're going to share this with us. And if we,
just to answer you quickly there. Just to answer you quickly there. Remember, this is just an example that I am showing you. This is not the what? This is not the assignment. When we do the assignment next week with the students that are coming through the assignment class, I will show you different ways of presenting your answers. But for the example, I honestly won't be able to, because it will take a lot of time for me to show you all of the different ways of presenting your answers for something that is an example. right? But for those that are coming through the class, I will show you a particular way. You can do it this way, 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 you can do it this way. I hope that answers what you are trying to ask. We won't finish. If I show you all of the different ways here, we won't finish this example for today. But for the specific assignment, because I also don't want my students to be accused of plagiarism when they submit the assignments, I will make sure that I show you the different ways in which you can present your answer so that you don't just have only one way of presenting your answer. All right, I'm going to assume you answered. Okay, where was I? Bed dates. All right, so I calculated it's 1.2, right? So we now go to our bed dates figure there, and we add plus 1,200. Okay, we go to the next one, insurance, right? So bed dates, it's conservatism principle. If you want to know more about bed dates issues, it's conservatism principle. That's bed dates, right? Next one is number 5. The insurance total includes an insurance premium.
James?
Yes.
I was saying to you, with the 1,200. Okay. With my calculations, like we don't calculate the same, but we got.
You have gone silent. I can't hear you anymore.
1,800.
You what?
Okay, let me just write down on the. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, I was saying that with 1,200. So I have my another calculation that I did, which is I took 1,800. Yes, then I as we have we need what is it? We have the 60%. That is the amount that she owned. Then which is means we have left with 40%. What I did is I took 1,200 multiply by 40 divided by 60, so that we can get the amount that we can add to the what is it? It's a provision for bad debts. Yeah, for bad debts.
1,000.
So I don't know if maybe I did it right or wrong. It's 1,800 times 40 divided by 60.
40 times 40% divided by 60%.
40, like you just take 1,800 times 40 divided by 60.
Yeah, you should. I think you should arrive at the same solution, if I'm not mistaken. You should arrive at the same solution. It's more or less the same thing, what you are saying and what I did. Because you always divide by 60, you always multiply by 40. So you should arrive at 1.2 if you check in your calculator, the way that you did it. I hope you got 1.2, because it should be 1.2 if you do it that way. If you take 1.8, multiply by 40 divided by 60, you should get 1.2. It's very correct the way that you did it. That's why I was saying that they're different ways of presenting it. Yeah, it's very correct the way that you did it. It's just different ways of presenting the same thing at the end of the day. All right. Now where was I? Number 5, insurance, right? Insurance total includes a premium of 7.2 that was paid for 1 May 2022 to April 2023. Again, you can see this is the matching concept, because there is insurance that was paid for 2023, and we are preparing a financial statement for 2022. So we want it gone. We do not want to include it under our expenses. This means on our insurance total here of 39,000, we need to subtract the insurance for 2023, right? So again, there are different ways of presenting this. So what some people will do is they will say 39,000 minus the 7.2, and then they will take the own portion that was applicable to 2022 and add it back. Some will say 39,000 minus the part for 2023. There are so many different ways of presenting the answer, but let's do the calculation first and then we can talk. So 7.2 May up to April. All right, 7.2 May up to April. So this is insurance. Insurance So 7.2, May up to April, how many months is that? It's 12 months, right? You can correct me if I'm wrong. So if it's 12 months, 7.2 divided by 12, it gives me how much per month? 7,200 divided by 12. It gives me 600 a month in insurance, 600 a month. So now that I know the monthly insurance, I can then remove for 2023. So in 2023, we paid for January, February, March, April, which is 4 months. So 2023 is going to be 4 months multiplied by 600, which is going to give me 2.4, if I'm not mistaken. 4 multiplied by 600, 2.4. So I can then come here and say 39,000 minus 2,400. I can simply do that. But like I said, there are different ways of presenting this. There are so many ways.
Yes, please just go over that again. It was the 4 months. Which 4 months now again? Sorry.
Okay, so we paid for May 2022 up to April 2023. And our statement should end in December 2022. So we do not want anything for 2023. So January 2023, not interested. February 2023, not interested. March 2023, not interested. April 2023, not interested. That's where the 4 months is coming from. Is that clear?
Yes, got it.
Sure.
And then times, okay.
4 times the 600 that we calculated the monthly, because remember it's 7.2 divided by 12 months, which is 600 a month. That's the insurance expense. So 600 multiplied by the 4 months, then we get 2.4. All right. So that's insurance. We are done with that one. We go to the next one. Adjustment number 6. An amount of 36,000 was owed for director's fees and was due to be paid to January 2023. Again, this is the accruals concept. There's an expense that we're supposed to pay that we did not pay, so we should include it. So we go to our director's fees and we simply add. How much is it? 36,000. Right? And then we go to the next one. The provision for bad debts must be increased to 6,300. So there is an account in a company called provision for bad debts. It has a certain figure in it, but it now has to be increased. So according to the notes that we did last week, an increase in provision for bad debts is an expense. A decrease in provision for bad debts is an income. And we only record the difference. We don't record the account, the whole amount. We only record the difference. So this is an increase. So when I say an increase in provision, bad debts, right? So what is the new balance is 6,300. What was the old balance? We go to our balance sheet account section, balance for provision for bad debts. We have it here. It's 6,000. So 6.3 minus 6,000. And then we get our difference here of 300 rand. That's our provision for bad debts figure there. We go to the next one. Number 8, provide for interest on debentures that is yet to be paid. A debenture is a loan, right? So provide for interest on debentures that is yet to be paid. So we need to look, do we have any loans? And what is the interest on those loans, right? So we check in our balance sheet, do we have any loans? We have debenture, 12% per annum, 790,000, right? So this one is a bit different. I remember what I said. Dividends and interest are not part of operating expenses. So where do we record our interest? Our interest is recorded separately. You can see over here in our template. Let me do this just to make it easier for you to see. Add, subtract, just to make it easier for you to see there. that is where we record our interest income and interest expense, right? So this interest expense, we are going to say here, 780,123 multiplied by 12% per annum. I want to give you a little bit of advice on this one. Your lecturer might tell you that the loan was taken on a specific date. If you see the lecturer telling you that information, that the loan was taken on a specific date, usually, I'm not saying all of the time, usually it means that the loan might not have probably done 12 months, which means that you cannot say 12% per annum. You need to calculate the monthly interest rate and only put interest for the months in which the loan existed at the company. But in this particular case, this loan went for a whole year because we are not given the date of the loan. So we're just going to say multiply by 12% and we get 93,600. And okay, sorry, before we go there, 93,600, but that's the answer anyway. But I wanted you to take note of something that I want to teach you. 93,600. There's something that I just want to teach you there. Let's see, just give me a second. I want to check. Okay, no, it's fine. We won't learn it today. It's not there. Because sometimes what happens is that there might be something under the nominal account section that says interest expense. So if something is recorded here under nominal account section, it means that the expense actually happened. The money actually changed hands. That's what it means. So sometimes it might actually make your life a little bit difficult if you're not sure of what you're doing. But when we do examples like that, I'll show you what I'm trying to talk about. All right, so we go to the next one. Aha, this one now. This one can be very confusing, right? Adjustment number 9. All right, so maybe let me leave adjustment number 9 there because I don't want to start mixing up your head. But let's look at what we've done so far. So far we had, okay, that's interesting. So we don't have any gross operating income. All right, that's right. All right. So our gross operating income, the operating income, we said 0 there, there was nothing. Although that's weird, but anyway, it's fine. All right. So operating expenses. Now let's calculate the totals for our operating expenses, right? So we've got 45,000 plus 4.5. And then here I've got 49. Now 49,500. And then here I've got 30,000. Here I've got 240,000. Here I've got 30,000. Here I've got 36,000 plus 1,200. I've got 37,200. Please correct me if I'm wrong at any point. And then 39,000 minus 2.4. I've got 36,600.
You're going faster than what it's showing up.
Sorry? Hello, you're breaking up. I can't hear you.
James, just check you're going faster than what it's appearing.
I should check my what? Hello?
You are going faster than what it's appearing on the screen. You are going faster than what it's appearing on the screen.
Okay, all right.
So
No,
we
it's fine.
can't check your
Okay,
digits.
I think there's a network challenge. I think there's a little bit of
I think it's network.
Yeah, I think there's a network issue. Because yeah, I can see that even on my side, it's saying that network is not stable and whatnot. So I think
you're going faster than what you are actually typing.
Okay, all right. And then hello? Can you hear me, guys?
I lost.
Yes.
We can hear you now, but we lost you for some few minutes.
All right, no, it's fine. Let me just repeat what I was doing here. Let me also try to change my network here. See if I can go on my mobile phone. Maybe that will help. Okay. So what I was simply doing, remember, we went through the operating expenses, right? So I was simply just taking the balances from our operating expenses, yeah? I was simply taking the balances from our operating expenses and adding them. So 45,000 multiplied by 4.5 gives you 49. 30,000 is just 30,000. 240,000 is the same thing. 33,000 minus 3,000 is equal to 30,000. 36,000 plus 1.2 is equal to 37.2. I was simply just taking the balances, calculating the balances for us. I hope that's clear. So now what we want is the total operating expenses. So we are going to add everything that is there together, right? So that is 49,500 plus 30,000 plus 240,000 plus 30,000 plus 37,200 plus 36,600 plus 1,800 plus 285,000 plus 38,700 plus 63,000 plus 300. That gives me here a final balance of 990,300 is my expenses figure. I'm just going to put it in red there. That's the total expenses, just addition of all of the expenses, just adding all of the expenses. Add all operating expenses. That's what I've done here. Just adding all operating expenses. If this figure is wrong, you can correct me in terms of the additions. Right. So that's what we got there. So now remember, our operating profit is simply the gross operating income here minus the operating expenses. Right? So 150,600 minus that figure there, and then I get 515,700. And we don't have any interest income, so that is going to be 0 there, right? So our operating profit there, right? And then we subtract our interest expense of 93,600, and then I get here my profit before tax of 422,100. Are we together here before we start calculating taxes?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, sharp. So now it goes and says adjustment number 9. The company tax calculation based on the profit for the year revealed that an amount of 31,188 is owed to South African Revenue Services. You know, your lecturer, I enjoy the way sometimes he writes his things, right? He does not say that the tax has been calculated and it's 31,188. No, that's not what he says. He says that the company owes this much to sales. The reason why he uses this language is because if you check in your trial balance, there is an account here. I'm going to put it in yellow. This account here. That's not supposed to be in your balances of account. South African Revenue Services. This account is on the debit side representing an asset, right? For the balance sheet account section. We will talk about this when you do the balance sheet, right? It represents an asset, right? For the balance sheet, right? So if you have got an asset in the balance sheet in terms of taxes, what does this mean? This means that the company during the year provisionally paid SARS without being given the tax bill. They went and paid 87,000. So for those of you that are in accounts, you already know, have you paid your provisional taxes? Or for those of you that own small businesses, this is what we mean when we say provisional tax. We're saying that someone went and paid tax before the tax bill came through. So they paid 87,000 already, right? They already paid 87,000. And then at the end of the year, we are told they still owe SARS, which means they've not yet paid SARS 31,188. So what is their final tax bill? So it's going to be 87,000, right? Plus 31,188 and then you get here our tax bill of 118,188. That's the tax bill for the company, right? Remember, everything that I put in brackets, we are saying we are subtracting. That's the reason why I've put it in what? In brackets, right? So 422,100 minus 118,188, and then we get our final profit figure of 303,912. That's the final profit figure for this particular what? For this particular company. So ladies and gentlemen, this is how you prepare a statement of comprehensive income. This is how you prepare a statement. In terms of your presentation, this over here, you can also put it here if you want. It's fine. You can also put it there if you want. It's okay. Even if you present it like this, it's not a problem, right? So this is your statement of comprehensive income, right? That you have what? That you have prepared for this particular company, right? So once you're done with this, you are going to get your what? Your full marks. But like I said, workings are optional to you as the student, because each and every one of us works things differently. So if you think that I don't need to work this out, you don't need to put it like this one here, gross profit, this working that I've put, you don't need to put this here. You can even delete it. It does not matter, because it does not add value. The lecturer knows that you got this figure from taking that figure and subtracting that figure. That is why it is there. You don't need to what? To particularly put it there. Right? But there are some workings that I really encourage you to make sure that they're always there. Workings such as depreciation, workings such as issues to do with this one where we're talking about municipalities and whatnot, you know, those type of complicated workings. I prefer, if it's possible, put them there so that you can show that you just didn't copy the answer from somewhere and put it there. But the rest of the workings, it's up to you, the way you present them, right, at the end of the day. But make sure, guys, any answer that is subtracting, put it in the negative. Put it in brackets. Sorry, put it in brackets, because brackets in accounts represents negative figures. So now that we are done with our income statement there, when we meet next week for the students that are joining me next week for business finance, right? I'll only be taking the students that would have paid for the classes. I said my classes are 750 Rand for the entire semester for each module. You are free to pay in installments, right? You can come to me, James, I only have 200 Rand at the moment. I'll pay 200 Rand this month, and the next month I pay 300 or whatever. We can agree on the terms, but you are free to pay in installments. So this is for business finance starting next week on Thursday. For economics, we still have another free class on Sunday. For management, we still have another free class next week. And then for marketing, we still have another free class next week. But for economics, this is the last free class that I will be sending through, right? So after this class, I'm going to send through this document. I'm going to send through the video for this lecture. The video you can check maybe after about 30 minutes. I need to upload it to the YouTube channel, so you can check after about 30 minutes. So please, guys, for those of you that want to do the assignment with us, please make sure that you join through next week, and we'll do the assignment together within the class setup so that I can show you what you need to do, the workings that you need to do. You are going to prepare your final answer yourself, but we are going to go through all of the workings together so that you know what the answer should be like at the end of the day. Ocean, you can ask your question.
Hi, James. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you. I had sent through WhatsApp, but I don't seem to be getting a response. I wanted to find out if it's the same cost for a one-on-one. And if you're doing one-on-one, can you still attend group sessions?
Okay. All right. I'll answer it this way. I'm going to use diplomacy in answering this question. One-on-one, please give me a call. We can discuss the issues of one-on-one. But take note, when I say one-on-one, I do not do one-on-one lectures. I do not do one-on-one lectures. But yes, I can assist you one-on-one. Please give me a call. If I do not answer you, like she's saying, I did not answer your WhatsApp or whatnot, it might just be I get tied up. So for example, today I was doing some exams. I was helping some students that were stuck with some exams. I was trying to help them out, right? So that's why the rest of the day I was not available. I looked at my WhatsApp, but I'll look at it after the lecture. So please give me a call. and then I'll answer you directly. The issues of, I don't want to answer them on this platform because remember it's recorded. So I would not want to talk about that information on the recording. Next one, Tiro.
Hi, James.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah. James, when you're uploading the recordings, can you just please ensure that there's 2 parts to this? Because I'm sure when you were struggling with the network issue there's part 1, and then this recording, this is part 2. So just please ensure that you upload both of them.
Okay, no, you don't need to worry about that part yet, because according to my system, it actually didn't split. It's still the same recording.
Okay.
Yeah, it's still the same. If it splits, I'll record 2. But I'm checking here my tracking. It's still showing as 1 video from the beginning.
Okay, no problem.
If it splits into 2, I'll send 2 videos. But I still believe it's still 1 video. Okay.
Thank you.
Any other question?
James, just by when should we make the our first payment, just to secure our spot with you? And then also with that, do you now create a separate group for those who have just paid, or do you still continue to share the passwords and that on these groups that we have with you already?
What we do, right, is let's see, just give me a second here. I want to check something here. Wednesday next week will be the 30th of August. So that if you want to join through the paid classes, please make sure that you have either paid or you have communicated with me by the 30th of August, right? By the 30th of August, because from all right, let's say 31, because 31 is the Thursday. But remember, the Thursday, that same Thursday, we are going to be doing the class in the evening, right, for the assignment. Because from 1 September going forward, I won't be doing any classes with students that have not made any payments, right, for me. So in terms of what you were asking, yes, we do create a separate group for the students that have paid, and they are the only ones who have access to attend the classes, who also have access to the recordings. Because we are going, if you check my YouTube channel, you notice that there might be a lot of videos, but you notice most of them are lecture 1, lecture 2, lecture 1, lecture 2. There's no lecture 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, because those videos are now private, only for the students that have joined the class. That is why you see my YouTube channel. It doesn't go deep. There's just 1 lecture 1, lecture 2, lecture 1, lecture 2, lecture 1. Because the first 2 or 3 lectures, they are free, but the other lectures are privatized and only accessible to the students that have joined the classes. I'm not a difficult person. If you give me a call, I answer your call, we can talk it out and see how we can try to structure it to make sure, because at the end of the day, I also want you guys to pass. I want to make sure that you don't, lose your bursaries or anything like that. I want to make sure that you guys pass. And like I said, I'm not going to try to repeat what your lecturer is doing in your class. Please, if you can attend the classes for the lecturer, please do attend them. If you can't attend them, whatever we provide you within our class, it's actually more than enough also to help you sail through the semester, to also help you. But if you can attend your Saturday classes with your lecturers, I encourage you to do that. If you can do that, I encourage you to do that. Take our lessons as extra lessons to help you specifically to look at the assignments, to help you specifically to look at the exam, because that is what our main focus is, to help you with making sure that your assignments are very well done and that your exams are going to be good in terms of the marks that you get. That is where my focus is at. All right, so the 750 includes, like I said, the help with the quiz, which is formative assessment number 1. It includes guidelines on the assignments, which is formative assessment number 2. It includes exam preparation, which are lessons where we do past, just like we did today, where we do past exam papers, and I thoroughly explain how everything is going. So what I'm saying applies to business finance, it applies to macroeconomics, it applies to management principles, it applies to understanding marketing. I will be the one who will be in charge of all of those guys. If you face any difficulty with them, please highlight to me so that I can talk to my partners so that we can correct where there are any issues that may be coming up that you need to be addressed. But for now, for next week, we are looking at business finance assignment. That is where we are starting. Then the other lectures, they will start their assignments in September. They'll start their assignments in September once the free lectures are done, because they still have to do one more free lecture each. So once their free lectures are done, then they can start looking at the assignment. I hope everything is well answered. I don't know if there's anything else before we dismiss each other for the night.
One more thing, James. I was just looking through all the groups now, and I can't pick up banking details.
All right.
Can
I
you
will
just post
send
that
them
into the
through in
group,
a few
possibly?
minutes.
Okay, thank you. Because there's the information on what to do, the support and all, but I don't see the banking details.
Okay, it's Varsity VUT Learning Center, but I'll send them through FNB VUT Learning Center.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else, guys, before I go? If there's nothing, we'll see each other on Sunday for microeconomics. Remember, microeconomics on Sunday will be free, so feel free to attend on Sunday.
Sorry, James, may I please ask a question? I just want to find out the extra classes from next week. How long are they? Is it still 1 hour, or it depends on the exercise that we'll be doing?
Okay. In terms of budgeting time, all of our classes start at 7 p.m., right? Then business finance will be every Thursday. Microeconomics will be every Sunday. Marketing should be every Monday. And then every Wednesday, we have management, right? They all start at 7 p.m. Normally, we do the classes up to 8 p.m. But in terms of budgeting time, please budget up to 9 p.m. Because most of the classes, you'll notice that when we start the class, you can't end the class when you haven't finished your thought. And I've noticed most of the classes, they end up going up to around 7:30 most of the time. So just budget your time, budget 2 hours up to 9 p.m. So that even after the class, you can also find time. If we finish early, you can also find time to just revise by yourself before you sleep or before you go see your family or something like that. So budget 2 hours for all those days from 7 up to 9. But we will try to make sure that we finish before 9 all of the classes, so that at least you have more time with your families and whatnot. We usually do 1 hour, 1 hour, 30 minutes maximum, something like that.
Noted. Thanks, James.
All right. Anything else before I go? I see, is it Lynette? Oh, she's gone. Okay, sure.
I'm sorry, one more thing, one last thing. The working sheet that you were working on now, because you sent us the example of the income statement, and then the workings that you did now with all your explanations and stuff. Are you going to share that also with us? That Word doc?
Yes, I'll see.
Because then we can practice in the meantime.
I'll send it. I'll just name it class example 24 August. Income statement. I'll send it through shortly.
Okay, thank you.
All right, sure. Okay, good night, guys. Bye-bye.
Thanks, bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.